His knees are weak, arms are heavy. There's spaghetti on his spaghetti already. Mom's spaghetti.
I'm assuming we're recording right now, aren't we?
We definitely are.
Sweet.
Well, welcome to 30 and Nerdy. My name is David.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I'm Brady.
That is correct.
And I'm AJ.
Bad Amy.
And this week, we are talking about a bunch of stuff. We'll be touching on probably some science, maybe for most of it, maybe for some of it. Who knows? We're not constrained by any of your topics, so get off us.
Yes, because we're so good at staying on topic.
It's what we do best.
I don't know how many episodes we're at. I tell people we're approximately like 100 episodes in. If we still, for the life of us, do not know how to make a show stay on the straight and narrow, we're like, yeah, we're going to talk about this. And then we're talking about horses getting their temperature checked with thermometers up the butt. It makes no sense. Clearly, if anybody listens to the last podcast on the left and you watched the last stream on the left, you probably realize I just watched that today, and that's why that popped into my head.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. It's good.
But what I've been doing with my time lately is I saw those clips on Facebook, just kind of stumbling through the news feed where you watch a video and watch the next one, watch the next one, watch the next one. And there were some funny clips from a show from Britainland, our friends across the pond.
Oi.
And it is...
You guys took all the cool stuff. Oh, yeah, we got fucking Queen. You shit. You fuck. British listeners love me.
I'm sure they do.
They send me messages all the time on Facebook telling me that I'm destroying their land somehow. I'm a disgrace. I'm a disgrace to London.
But I've been watching this show called 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, and it is quite possibly the most hilarious show. I bust out laughing, and my wife looks at me like I'm an idiot because I'll be laughing and I'm watching TV. And usually you don't...
Well, I mean, you are an idiot.
Well, I am. But normally you don't really actually LOL in real life, but this show actually makes me laugh out loud.
I think that if you're watching television, you should be laughing out loud. You should be
I know, but most of the time,
jovial and happy, and if you're watching something that's like truly hilarious, you should be laughing at it.
Well, because it's just like a bunch of stars from Britain and surrounding area. Like they have some German people, sometimes some Americans pop in.
You know, the original UK.
Yeah.
Pre-Brexit.
But it just is hilarious. They get away with a lot more. The American censors would never let them get away with anything. That's why the show would never work in America unless it was on HBO or Cinemax or something like that, where they can say and do whatever they want to.
Cable, late night cable, you can do a lot too.
Yeah, you can do
But
a lot
not
on late night cable. But what I don't get, I mean, I'm going to tangent a little bit here.
Oh, shocker.
Right? I don't understand why we're so concerned with censorship in America. You know, I was reading an article about that kid who shot up the school.
The latest one?
Yeah, and it had a disclaimer at the top like, please excuse the foul language in paragraph 4.
Because we're all...
So I go straight to paragraph 4, and it's calling the kid who did it a son of a bitch. Like, one of the parents is like, that son of a bitch. I'm like, that's not foul language.
It's because... And I say this we, but I don't actually mean we. I just mean a large majority...
America.
Of America...
Yeah.
...is a big pussball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't stand to have our feelings hurt, and this is hilarious because half the stuff they say on here, because he'll go through a little tangent. Jimmy Carr, by the way, is the host, and he'll go through and introduce like whoever, because they have two judges two contestants who are usually there most of the time, unless they win a certain amount of rounds or game shows, and then they come back for the big finale and whatever.
Right.
That's if you go to the Wikipedia page, you can read the rules and all that kind of jazz. And he'll go through and he'll be like, Sean Locke, and he'll just rip him a new one on just something funny that he, but most of the time people will be like, oh my word, he just said that about me.
Well, no, like...
And Jimmy's usually an insult comic, isn't he?
Yeah, that guy's like whole shtick. When you said his name, you're like, yeah, he's a comic. I have no clue who you're talking about. Now I see him, and it's like, oh, the asshole.
Yeah.
And he's a professional asshole.
He's a really good professional asshole, and he's hilarious. And, someone's got to do it. At least it's that guy.
But the great thing is all the contestants give each other crap,
I mean, but
to everybody else, and
especially
nobody takes it serious.
You have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
Especially like in a comedy setting, you have to be able to, because I mean, half the time you're making jokes about yourself, the other half of the time you're making jokes about people who may be sitting out in the audience.
Yeah, or like David's hat.
So, so you have to be able to expect to take some hate.
I'm wearing a New York Yankees hat, which is
Fucking dumb. I don't know. What do I know about the Yankees?
sports ball.
You know, I don't. What a fucking weird name, like Yankee. I hate it when people say Yankee, because it sounds like they're being diminishing towards Americans. But really, if you think about the word Yankee, like, it sounds like jerking off, like Yankee, Yankee,
You go have a Yankee.
I mean,
in the
most
bathroom.
of the sports teams' names are something.
They're
dumb.
ridiculous.
You should
Mets.
look up old timey baseball names.
Well,
they
like-
were great.
Phonetics,
also horrible.
like the phonetical alphabet or whatever it's called, where it's like Charlie, unicorn,
like the military.
yeah, Charlie unicorn, Charlie kilo.
I don't think they have unicorn in theirs.
Yeah, they do. They use unicorn.
I'm looking it up right now.
Anyway, I just did cuck. But anyway, so what happens is at work we share a call center with Pampanga, Philippines, and when they do their phonetics, every time they say Yankee, it's like they like get this like twist in their voice where it's just like Yankee, like they're calling me a Yankee. Don't call me a Yankee. It's a weird word. I think it's just one of those words that makes me feel weird on the inside. Some people get that way with like moist.
Yeah, I
Yours-
don't understand moist.
Yours is Yankee.
Yeah, it's just
Which
kind of.
that's still my my T-shirt that I want to make for us is a picture of you, Brady, but it's going to be kind of whited out. You're just going to be looking off into the distance, or just going to get a kind of like a side view of your face,
Yeah.
and then your face is going to be on a picture of a generic cologne bottle, and at the bottom it's just going to be moist. Period.
I want to get a shirt that
And then at
says.
the bottom, moist by Brady.
I want to get a shirt that has like my dumb face on it, and it just says, "Are you ready to eat this tree?" That's like my fucking saying.
It is.
Ever since I said it that one day when I was super tired.
And the letter U is a uniform in NATO whatever alphabet.
Uniform, unicorn, they're both really close.
They both start with U,
I'm sorry. I thought it was unicorn.
That would have been way cooler.
Yeah.
but this is the military we're talking about.
But anyway, so yeah, when they do Y for Yankee, is Y for Yankee. You buttholes. Anyway, well now look, now I'm the butthurt American. Wham wham. I didn't put on my new diaper today, so smell like a kid I used to work with. He was an adult baby.
Oh yeah.
Brett.
Edit that name for safety purposes. Put in a beep
Dude, he was on Dr. Phil.
twice.
Yeah, who cares? He's
Twice.
out, baby.
He
Brett.
loved it.
Look him up on YouTube.
YouTube.
Pass.
And then he was a professional WoW player on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in like one of the big guilds.
Different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Well, he used to pay people $1,000 a pop to change his diaper, and I almost did it until I heard that he has a boner the entire time, and I was like, I'm not ready to eat that tree.
Well, on to your original topic.
Okay, so the original topic was I was just wanting to do one round.
I know, like
Of-
I was just I don't understand censorship in America. It's just like people who still want to put censors on music and
I think
movies.
it's a lot
and-
because the church is very devoid from the everyday life of European nations, and so the American politics and American culture as a whole is very tied into
the one
Christianity.
country that's supposed to be about the freedom of religion is
The one
not.
that's
controlled
tied
by it.
into.
And that's
and me
no-
as a Christian, I
Yeah,
would like
that's
to
no
see.
poo poo on you.
No, I understand. What I was trying to say was that I would like to see a divide, because I don't want to see Christianity or any religion, whatever brand of Christianity or Islam or
I don't
whatever
think any religion at all whatsoever should muddy it,
Be
the
overhanging-
water of religion.
I would like to see separate, not equal, and just I don't. And
Yeah,
I don't know
separation of church and state.
I don't understand how to do that in American culture now because it's
there
so
definitely
entwined.
isn't a way right now, and it's lobby groups is the main issue.
Yeah.
If we could get rid of lobby groups,
Get some money out of my politics.
Yeah, get money out of it. That's the big thing. If there wasn't a financial gain, I think we would be a better governed nation. But
anyway, back to our
let's play a game.
original topic. Just a fun little thing because they have 2 little rounds. They usually take a long time to get to because they joke around and laugh, and that's where I find my fun. Plus, I also find fun in trying to actually win, which I usually don't because I suck at this type of stuff. But it's still fun for me. So, Brady, you're going to get to do You're both in on this, but Brady, you get to choose the letters and consonants. You get 9. You get to choose anything you want. I mean, you don't get to choose a letter. You just choose. I want a consonant. I want a vowel.
RSTLNE.
No. So you say what you want.
I was going to do that too.
What do I want?
So if you want a consonant, we go, and then I'll give you a consonant. I have a
G.
random generator. No, you don't tell me what letter. You tell me you want a consonant.
I want a G. Okay,
This
consonant.
is like being on because they do that all the time. They're like because there was this one time where they got like a GONA and he's like I want a D and they got like gonads and then everybody thought it was hilarious, which I also thought was hilarious, but that's because I'm juvenile apparently.
Well, no, that's funny.
Time for our final letters game. John and Josh, your turn to choose.
Vowel, why not?
I'll do it, sod it.
Thanks, Jeff.
There you go.
A consonant?
Yeah, fine. There you go, pop it into it.
I'll have a vowel, please, Joe.
Yeah. On!
I'll have a consonant, please, Joe.
All right, hold
I'll
on.
just have to sit down.
You get that could be gonad.
Well, I'm definitely going to go with a consonant.
Yes, that's happening! Plural. Let's go plural.
You want a consonant, Joe? Come on.
Start the clock.
So what
Okay,
do I
so
do?
the consonant is J.
Do I need to write this down too?
Yes, you do. So you take all these letters and you try and come up with the longest word that you can. Whoever has the longest word wins.
Okay.
Has to be a real word in the dictionary, blah, 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 stuff like that. Can't
Oh,
be like,
damn it.
Because they came up, like, there's one time they had piss mat, and they're like, oh, it's piss mat. But it wasn't actually, I mean, it is a word, but it's not in the dictionary. What would you like for your next one, Brady?
Another consonant.
Q. Ooh, you're not doing so
Oh,
well.
fuck this.
Next one.
Vowel. Vowel.
You got an I for your next one.
I is an igloo.
I as an igloo. What would you like for your next one?
Another vowel.
A.
Hey. Consonant.
You got a Z.
Dude, your letter machine broken.
A vowel.
You have a U.
Come on. Vowel.
Another vowel?
Maybe okay. Consonant.
No, it's his turn.
Consonant.
Well, I already got the vowels.
Okay,
So it's
whatever.
E. So you have 2 more choices.
Consonant.
D is your consonant.
These nubs.
And 1 more.
Oh, should I do consonant or vowel, listeners?
This is
Consonant.
riveting podcasting, by
consonant.
And
How do you,
I have faith that you'll edit it so just like vowel J or vowel A, consonant J.
So your letters are J, Q, I, A, Z, U, E, D, M.
cool.
And we have 30 seconds on the clock.
Oh no.
Now. So you got to try and find words in 30 seconds.
played Boggle with Brady. He's not going to do great.
No. I got one. Jam.
So
Quizzed.
Ooh.
Quized.
Jam.
So 6 for AJ and 3 for Brady.
Woo.
Now the next one is a lot of fun for me because I suck at math.
Oh, no.
So this next one is numbers. Now you get to pick any form. You could pick 6 high. I wouldn't recommend it because you have to try and add, subtract, divide, and multiply to get to whatever the final number is. But you can choose any variation, like 4 small. Usually what they do in the show is they do 2 large, 4 small.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but
Well,
whatever.
it's AJ who gets to choose this round. So you get to choose the math round, AJ.
What's the final number?
That'll be randomly generated at the very end. So you
okay.
pick like if you want 4 small, which are 1 through 10, and then your larges are like 25, 50, 75, 100.
Okay.
Now you also don't get to choose. You just say high or low,
Okay.
and how many you'd like.
3 high, 3 low.
3 high.
Do you have to use all numbers?
Yes, you can't do fractions.
Well, no, I meant like, do you have to use all the numbers?
No. You can whatever way you can get to it. You don't have to use all the numbers, which is
Okay.
I was really confused in the beginning when I first started watching the show because I was trying to use all the numbers. And I'd always lose because it'd be like, I have like 10 that I can't use. So first one is 50 for a high.
Damn.
Second high is 75. Third one is 25. And first low is 4. Second low is 9. Third low is 1. Final number that you must try and get these 6 numbers to match, or get as close as you can, is 303.
I think we're all going to have the same.
Maybe, maybe not.
So what are we supposed to do now?
So now I'm going to start the clock. It's 30 seconds. You take all the numbers that you have in front of you, Brady. You may add, subtract, divide, or multiply to get to 303. All right, are we ready?
Sure.
And you may start now.
I don't get this. I'm not done. I don't care.
All right, Brady, what did you get for your final number?
225. 225.
225 from Brady. And did you get it, Brady or AJ?
I got 303.
Walk us through how you got to 303, AJ.
I took 75 times 4.
Equals 200. Or I mean,
300.
Sorry. I did it differently. Sorry. Go for it.
So 75 times 4 equals 300. Then I added 4 to 300, which equals 304. And then I subtracted
Minus the
1 and 303.
10 points to
Cool.
AJ. AJ wins with 16 points.
That's crazy.
So that's just really fun. I mean, it's dumb, but that's the show that if you can watch it and enjoy it, it's a lot of fun.
I'm
The
pretty sure if
hilariousness.
we would have been joking and making dick jokes the entire time, it would have been super entertaining.
It would have, but, you know.
We
not our
we
shtick.
have an issue
That's not
staying
our
on
shtick.
topic anyway.
Yeah.
No, like I was like, oh, this is gonna be bullshit. I can't fucking do this. And then I was like, oh, he said you could use multiplication, subtraction, addition, and division. Oh, this will be easy.
Yeah, it was so easy. That's exactly my thoughts.
I'm sorry.
I hate math. I hate numbers.
But see, this is because I'm terrible at math. I like math. I'm just bad at it. And so this is, even though this isn't real, quote unquote math,
This kind of like reminds me of like
it's a lot of fun for me just to try and stretch my brain and try and.
when I was a kid. They had those like pop quiz math tests where it's like fast math.
Yeah.
I hated them. I was terrible. It was just like simple additions and simple subtractions, and I just couldn't wrap my head around that shit. But when it comes to trying to find X with a set of numbers, for some reason my brain's just like, okay.
See, I can't. I don't know. Math just is completely.
I work better on concepts that aren't set in stone. So when I see like giant theoretical math, makes sense to me. If you ask me how to do long division, I'll tell you to go suck your own dick.
Yeah, I don't
because I
remember how to
can't.
do that at all.
I honestly cannot do it.
But speaking of
Sucking your own penis?
No, stretching your mind and just trying to get it to work again. We are going to go into our next topic about the passing of Stephen Hawking,
So
dead at 76.
76,
I saw that the other
and he died on Pi Day.
Yeah,
3.14.
also died.
He
I think
did?
that was Albert Einstein's birthday.
Albert Einstein's birthday as
He
well.
was, he was born on, I think, either the birth or death of Galileo, or
It's kind of crazy how all of those great minds kind of seem to have a correlation with the date of March 14th. It's kind of weird.
Aliens.
Jesus Christ. If I were like a religious person or something, or like if I were one of those people who believed in like, oh, it's a sign, definitely would be one of those, but I think it's just really cool.
Coinky dink.
Yeah, that happens.
I do find it interesting because every article that I see, I mean, besides talking about his life, has been either how did he make his millions? Who are his kids? Who's his second wife? Who's his first wife? It's like, why do I care?
cares?
So
Why is this keeping up
It's-
with the Kardashians, Hawking style?
So it's true. Stephen King, God damn it. So it's true. Stephen Hawking, one of the greatest minds of all time, even he couldn't figure out how to work a relationship. So I mean that should
There's
really
hope
be
for us.
hopeful to everybody on the planet Earth. No matter how smart you are, you're still gonna want to bang your nurse. and that he did that. It happened. So he did get a divorce from his first wife, and then he got married to his nurse, who was financially abusing him and abusing him in other ways as well. So I mean, his love life was on the rocks, to say the least.
At least he was divorced from her before he passed, I believe.
Yes,
So that way,
That-
hopefully she doesn't get anything.
that is true. But I mean,
I mean,
a lot. No, she doesn't deserve. Fuck that bitch. The thing about it is that relationships and shit like that is hard for everybody. I don't think it's fair to go after him for that.
Well, it
And
doesn't, like,
I
going
hate
after
the
him, it
fact
just-
that. Well, no, I hate the fact as well that it seems that the media wants to focus on that instead of the greatest contributions to the scientific community in age, that stuff that we will still be working with for years and years and years to come. I mean, he has a radiation named after
Hawking
him.
radiation.
Yes, Hawking radiation, which is from black holes. Without him, we wouldn't have the
It says that
concept
black
of black
holes evaporate over time.
yeah, and he does.
Yeah.
He kind of changed his stance
a
on.
lot of time.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you kind of see that in even if when the Large Hadron Collider was being built, that a lot of people thought that there was going to be a black hole, and even if there was, they're so infinitesimally small that they would suck up whatever matter is around them, which wouldn't be hardly anything,
and then
just
pop
disappear.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So-
leave behind Hawking radiation.
And so, I think the Kardashian nature of our society, where we have to be in the facets of their life instead of what they actually were about,
Yeah.
and
It's sad.
And just even I was reading an article just about, did Hawking believe in God?
No.
Who cares?
So that's something about his passing that's actually pretty hurtful and makes me sad to see, is that there's this huge thing on Twitter. Of course it's on Twitter. Where Christians are all like, oh, at least he's burning in hell now. Now you see where the universe came from, you dumb idiot. And it's just like, why? Why?
I'm not exactly
He never outright attacked religion. When he did speak of God, he spoke of it in a way.
Like the Einsteinian God.
Yeah, the Einsteinian God.
God in a actual person sense would be something like a deist, where he just kind of allowed it to happen and let his hands go. But
Yep.
that's even a very far stretch of what he said, or Einstein,
Yeah.
where it just was basically that God is the things that allowed the universe to come into existence.
Right.
And that there's something that's far greater and more unifying, like the unifying nature of the universe. And that's what he said he would call God, is the physics that would explain everything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually that he believed in a capital G God who created everything
Exactly.
ex nihilo.
Because,
with
I
that.
mean, Hawking finally did go on the, record of saying that he doesn't believe in a personal God. I mean,
And that's the one thing I don't understand about. I mean, like this is a far out there group, a very small minority, but the Westboro Baptist Church, when they started
they're horrible.
the
wouldn't
pages
even-
about like they're burning in hell for 680 days, and then whatever website that kind of ticks over how much Pope John Paul II or whatever person that they didn't care for
Yeah.
or disagreed with their theology, and that kind of Christianity I don't understand, because if you truly do believe whatever kind of religion, whether it's Mormonism or Christianity or Catholicism or
Any of them.
Any of 'em.
Any
Even-
any Abrahamic religion.
that you usually, I mean, inside Christianity there are the two kind of forms of either what's the words I'm looking for, Calvinist, or I'm not going to get the other one, but universalism, basically, where everybody will eventually go to heaven given enough
Oh yeah,
time.
I
can't think
know
of what
what
it's
you're
called.
talking about now.
But
I
that no
think-
matter what they, even if you do think he is burning in hell, then you should use that as a, because Penn Jillette has said the same thing, where he says, if you do believe this, then you should be talking to me about it, because my immortal soul, quote unquote, is
on the line.
on the line. So if you actually do love me and you're preaching what you're believing, then this is what you should be saying, not haha, you're burning in hell, glad you're there now, sucker.
and that's
Yeah.
exactly the way that people
And that's-
are using it,
and that's horrible.
I think a lot of it, because you don't really hear about this shit in other countries, like you kind of said earlier, where religion is so ingrained into the American standard, and we use it with a really hateful. And I'm not saying all.
Yeah. Hashtag not all.
Yeah, hashtag not all. But America as a whole, but not specifically person of America. God damn it. I hate how I'm having to say this. We use religion as
A hammer.
a powerful weapon against people, and we use it in the cruelest ways that we can imagine. And that's why people who are atheists that are just like, can we just not? That's why a lot of atheists get shit on all the time, is because I understand that according to scripture, you're supposed to spread the word. That is part of your scriptures, to spread the word and to change the minds of those who don't believe, and to save the souls of those who are not saved. I completely understand that, but I don't think going up to somebody and being like, yeah, well, you know what? If you don't change, you're going to burn in hell. You're going to get tortured. You're going to get fucking raped in the ass by Satan. You want to get raped in the ass by Satan? No, I don't. But the way that you're coming at me with it, how am I supposed to take you seriously?
And I think that does, because that leads towards the.
I've only met, and I'm being completely honest here, like maybe 4 people who were religious and really talk the talk and walk the walk of it. You, a person we used to work with named Rachel, she used to go to your church.
Yep.
Okay, two people.
We aren't just Sunday Christians
Yeah, like
who put the suit on and go to get.
like Rachel.
Go to be
I mean,
seen.
I'm a Sunday Wednesday.
Hey, that's fine.
when
Not a Saturday.
I was like down on my luck, like she
It's my
brought
day to
me
rest.
when I was going through my divorce. I was like running super low on money because I couldn't afford anything, because I was now taking care of an apartment that originally was like, yeah, I could take care of this with 2.
Income's coming in.
Yeah. And she brought me a box of food. And and I was like, dude, I can't. She's like, you need this, then this is my way of helping you. And I don't want anything back from it. It's just the right thing to do. There's not enough Christians in the world like that. And I think that's the major issue with religion in our country. And so when you go on Twitter and you see all these people like tearing a dead man apart just because
he thought differently than you,
it's just terrible. You know, like he brought a lot of good stuff to
the world.
Yeah, like he was such a big name for science and for math and for, you know, all the things that we try to figure out how things work. Such an important person. When I saw that he passed away, I cried. I literally cried.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. I think that crying over, you know,
somebody you don't
quote unquote popular people or whatever is dumb. But I mean, to lose one of the greatest minds of all time was just it hurts.
I'm surprised he made it this long, to be honest, with his condition.
Yeah, he really beat the odds on that one.
Yeah, because he found out when he was 21, was supposed to only live till he's 26. He lived till he was 76.
Yeah.
But, I mean, usually...
suck it.
But he did have a very slow progressing Lou Gehrig's disease, which usually, if I remember correctly, is usually
it's usually
a lot more
a fast burn.
And I'm trying to think. Basically, do you become entombed in your body where everything kind of shuts down, and then finally the brain is the final thing to go?
Yep.
And that's,
but
that's one of the,
generally,
I think,
what happens is that it'll take the brain with you.
Well,
so
thankfully, that didn't happen in his case.
Yeah, he still was able to control his eyes. So that's why he was able to still talk and write and to get his words out. I mean, for him to write a paragraph took hours.
Yeah.
And dude must have had extreme patience, because I couldn't imagine living like that. But I guess if it's the only way that you can live and you have something to say and it's important, which I feel that probably a lot of what he said was important, it was worth the time to take to get it out.
Yep. I'd like to read some of his books. I don't have any.
They're good. I recommend to everybody A Brief History of Time. It's one of the easiest books to read, and it puts big, complex math into very layman terms that anybody can understand. And it's good stuff. And I'll miss him and his contribution to science.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking up some of the stuff that he either was influential in or came up with.
No, you're good. I'm trying not to cry.
Hit us with some facts.
So let's see here. Stephen Hawking's main contributions to the field of physics and cosmology lie in the studies of, but not limited to, the origins of the universe, time, the Big Bang Theory, gravitational and space-time singularities, black hole radiation, a universe without space-time boundaries, atheism, which I'm not really certain on that one. I don't know how much he actually talked on.
You could probably state that any big
scientific person
has a contribution to atheism. Some people really flaunt it, like Krauss, and then some people don't, like Tyson. He'll never say, like Neil deGrasse Tyson,
because he doesn't like labels
on public television or any TV show. They always try to get him to say, "Well, do you believe in God?" And he goes, and he like will pussyfoot through it, and I understand why he does it.
It's not.
You don't want to have to wear that scarlet letter. Especially when you're as popular as he is.
Because I can't remember what it was, and I'll probably try and find the little blip, but he was on the Sam Harris podcast, and they were talking about that, and he said the closest he likes to come is agnostic, and I can't remember his exact reasoning. It's something along those lines of being, because, I mean, people also will talk about him being a famous black scientist, and he's like, I'm not a black scientist, I'm just a scientist.
Yeah.
And he doesn't enjoy labels that put him into a box. And I think that's why I love him so much. A, because he makes science fun. He makes it interesting.
He's a showboat. He's a show hog. He, like, put him on a stage, he's going to steal the show.
Yeah.
Every other scientist on that stage will be like, God damn it.
I think just saying that I was looking forward to speaking with you and asking my Twitter followers what we should talk about. And this was probably no surprise to you, probably the most common question they raised, this lack of endorsement of the label atheist. You know, that you're not happily wearing this label. I actually, I have a talk I gave some years ago, I think entitled The Problem with Atheism, that I gave at an atheist conference. And as I've said before, it was the only talk I've ever given, certainly. I think it's the only talk I know about that started with a standing ovation and ended with boos and people leaving the room. And the point of the talk was for me pushing back against the label atheist. I said, there's no reason why we have to meet in bad hotels around this variable of political atheism and call ourselves atheists. And we don't call ourselves non-astrologers. If astrology ever became ascendant in this country and people were making decisions on the basis of the position of the planets, well, then we would talk about reason and evidence and common sense and science to neutralize those claims without ever defining ourselves in opposition to astrology. And I think the same thing can be done with religion. And as chance had it, in my first book, which inducted me into the small club of the new atheists, the End of Faith, I never even used the term atheist or atheism. And it's not that I withheld use of that term. I simply it never occurred to me to use the term. I was just talking about the problems of religion, the opposition as I see it between reason and faith, and science and untestable, unverifiable claims. And so the political variable of atheism, I find, it may have its moment historically. It may be necessary to some degree to shine a light on the fact that you have by and large, the smartest and most educated people in this society politically anathematized and marginalized. But I think there's a real weakness in the term. But there is I think there's a difference between the two of us, at least in our public persona, which is I don't do anything to dodge the term, because if someone asks me if I'm an atheist, I will go on to say, very likely I will say how empty that term is. I mean, it has no philosophical content, and it doesn't capture any of what interests me about, quote, spiritual experience and things like meditation, etc. But I won't dodge the term because but from the view of most religious people, I am an atheist. I think these books were merely written by people, and that's really all you need to be sure about to be an atheist from the Christian or Jewish or Muslim perspective. And so I'm wondering, based on this Twitter storm I got, I think somewhere you have called yourself an agnostic as opposed to an atheist. So I just want to ping you about that. How do you relate to those terms?
It's not even that I called myself an agnostic versus an atheist. It's that if you require that I give myself a label, then the closest word I can come up with is agnostic, not atheist. But I would rather have no label at all. So that greatly resonates with you, but perhaps for different reasons. The only ist I am is a scientist. Beyond that, a label is an intellectually lazy way to assert you know more about a person than you actually do, and therefore don't have to engage them in a conversation. Oh, you're an atheist. Bam! Out in comes a whole portfolio of expectations of what you'll say, what your behavior is, what your attitudes are.
And I don't think the atheist or not is important to him. He's like, it doesn't matter what I think. He's just trying to make science. What
he does is he does what every scientist should do and goes by empirical fact. Can it be proven empirically and scientifically? If not, then I will have to conclude a no.
Yeah.
Unless the evidence shows differently, which that's how I try to live my life, where if you give me evidence, I'll fucking change my mind in an instant.
Yeah.
I have some pictures to show you about the ice wall. And some NATO boats that are protecting it.
Well, fuck.
It is going to blow your mind.
Though, that kid who poured the water on an orange, He already got me.
That was so perfect.
Some of the photos may be from Game of Thrones, but that's what it would look like.
I don't, David.
If we could actually get pictures of it, if NATO would let us down there.
That is the perfect joke. Thank you so much. That you have graced us with wonder and beauty today.
I do what I can.
I love that. Thank you. I was like so sad. I was thinking about Stephen Hawking, and then you're like, boy, do I got pictures to show you of an ice wall.
You're probably wondering where I was going with that before the ice wall part.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what's he going to show me a picture of?
All right, what's the topic now?
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking about is what do we want to talk about for our last little tidbit.
My PS4 is breaking again.
Ooh, tell me more.
It's doing the disc eject on its own thing.
Again?
Yep, and it'll just sit there and you can hear it trying to eject a disc that isn't in there. I mean, I've sent it in like 2 years ago for the same problem.
Same exact issue.
It's that Destiny model.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had enough money to buy that damn God of War.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a
PS4
beautiful
Pro
looking fucking PlayStation. So I'm in. So Bloodborne is huge again because it's free this month, and so there's been a huge resurgence over in the group that I'm in for that. And this guy created a PlayStation stand that is 4 of the messenger guys holding up a piece of parchment, and then you put your PlayStation on it.
That's pretty cool.
And it's
Nice.
3D printed. It looks sick as fuck. It is awesome.
So now with 3D printing, does that just come out in kind of that bluish gray, or can you color it?
You can use any color plastic.
But it's just going to be mono, just single color.
Well, you can
You can probably layer it somehow.
you can layer it. It's a pain in the ass to do, but for that, it's kind of like the one that he created is like super detailed. So I would much rather just have it be monocolored plastic and then hand paint it.
See, that's the one thing I
Because
do
like
miss.
I was like, whoa, if you get around and selling those, I would buy one in a heartbeat, and then I would take the time to paint it.
That's one thing I'm hoping that because I would like to get into building models.
Oh, I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. I miss it.
When I was a kid, I was awful at it, and I think it's mostly because I just couldn't really follow the instructions very well.
I think you know what it is that when you're a kid, they give you that big old metal tube of test doors, and it says to use in a well-ventilated place, but your parents always just send you to your room, and you're just sitting there with that cap of testers off,
What is
and you're
that?
the model glue.
Yeah, the model
Oh, is
glue.
it?
And so all you're doing is smelling all these model glue fumes, and you're like, yeah, I know it just says to use a little bit, but all the way around the edges, right? And then there's just so much glue. Oh, who cares that my F-22 is kind of a floppy jalopy? I built this, Mom. I built it.
In high school when I think freshman year I had to do art, and we would just take a piece of paper and glue them together with rubber cement and carry it around all day and just huff it throughout school.
Jugs it.
Like I would just sit there and just take deep breaths of the rubber cement
Brady Cooker, everybody.
until I was lightheaded and sitting in class like, whoa.
Well, when I used
this
to
is
build models all the time, I didn't realize I was getting high, but I'm pretty sure like
You're tripping balls.
9 times out of 10 I was high as fuck, because you don't have that much fun while building a model. You shouldn't. Instead, me, I'm blasting fucking Power Man 5000 and building hot rods with my fucking X-Acto knife and my bottle of test stores, and I'm like, this is what it's like when worlds collide. Oh, you ready? Here you go. And it's just like, oh man, this hot rod's really coming together. And then you go back and you look at it, 10 years down the line, which I had a chance to do. Wow.
Is it bad?
Does it what, at your dad's or something? Have him take a picture. We can post it on our Facebook page.
It's just, first off, it's like covered in the thickest layer of dust. But beyond that, like everything's just like a little off. So like instead of it being like a nice solid body and everything, it's just kind of like a floppy jalopy, like I said earlier. And then like you can open up the thing. Well, I screwed it up so it just pops off. And when it and it's terrible. Like the engine is supposed to be really bright and shiny. Instead, it's just got glue fingerprints all over.
We need to see this.
And I don't know what happened to like the thousands of other models I did. I did at least 100 when I was a kid.
See, I tried a couple and then I just stopped.
I loved it.
And then once I got into Warhammer 40K, I know it's a very simplified version, but at least once you get into the vehicles, then it gets a little bit harder.
Well, it was really fun when you let me build those one dudes.
Yeah. I think Thomas still has that. That's
because I did some action poses instead of just being like, all right, put them together. No, I'm gonna make it so like looks like this one's throwing a grenade. And
but I would like to either. The one thing I would like to build is an Enterprise 1701D, but the hard thing is that I can only find like pre-built ones or not any model kits of it.
Go to Hobby Haven in West Des Moines. I know that 99% of this podcast is gonna be like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Hobby Haven over in West Des Moines. It used to be in like that weird little area that was across the street from Kmart. Now it's up in like the richer side of Urbandale.
Okay.
So I guess it's in Urbandale, not West Des Moines. But they sell every model you could ever think of. And they sell stuff for electric cars, motor cars, airplanes, helicopters, anything that you can build, they sell it. They sell model train stuff. They sell...
That stuff is expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure if I had the fucking money and I didn't have anything to do with my life, I would be the old guy in the basement in a pair of overalls with a conductor cap, and I'm like, gotta make this train get to Maine.
There was back in New York, I don't even know what the store was. It was a shoe shop, I think. But they had a train track that went all the way around the whole entire top of the store. I mean, it just was a single story, but up around the edges of the store, and it would go back into like the back room, so it had a little tunnel that it would go through, and it'd come out back into the shopping area. And I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. It made me think I was like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and that they were popping back there.
Hell yeah!
There's a restaurant either in Kansas City or Omaha that's like that. It has tracks along the entire top.
And I know, like our Frozen manager, one of the Hy-Vees has train tracks like above their coolers that just kind of goes around. And our guy was like, "Yeah, I'd like to do that." It was like $1,500 or something even more than that, like $2,000 just to get the tracks and everything for as much as they need.
Company card.
Goodness.
But anyway,
it's for advertising.
My dad used to take me there like about once a month, and then my grandpa would take me there like once a week. You know, it was just kind of their way of like incentivizing me for doing good in school. And once I started doing shitty in school, I stopped getting models, which is why I stopped building models clearly when I was a teenager. But we would go and pick out models, and I would just sit there and drool over like all the train stuff. They had like this giant Red Baron plane, fully 100% works. And I mean, this thing is like maybe 1/8 size. It's huge.
Jeez.
And it's a full biplane that works, and I'm just, I want that. I want that. I want to build it, and I want to fly it. And I'm gonna crash it the first time because I think I'm a fucking pro at everything I do. You know, like, so if you're really looking into getting into that, I would highly suggest that. And if you're in the metropolitan Des Moines area and you're looking for a place to,
seems like an odd word to use to describe Des Moines.
Oh, well, that's what they call it. So, yeah. So if you're ever in the area, hit up Hobby Haven and tell them some weird guy sent you. And they'll be like, why the fuck does some idiot from a podcast called 30 and Nerdy keep asking people to come to our store and race at our dirt track that's in the back? Yeah, They got
What?
They got a giant dirt track for race cars.
See, that's one thing I'm really looking forward to is when my kids get older. I want to be able to build some models with them because I think that'd be kind of fun. Some special time.
You know what it is? David's going to be like, I finally have a reason to spend $800 to get this really nice Traxxas.
But I would, more importantly, I think it'd be fun to do like Warhammer Fantasy type stuff and build whatever with them and paint them. Because I miss painting. That was some of the most fun. Just like even doing this podcast, sometimes I enjoy the editing more and like getting all the music and little sound bites that I pop
Making
in.
it
I used to feel
finished
really bad that
project.
we only made you the editor after a while because like I just it was too mind numbing for me. I couldn't fucking do it. It made me angry. But then it seems like as you've gone along, A, you've got really fucking good at it. I don't think I could edit the way you do. B, it's not you seem to have fun with it.
I do.
So
I mean,
Probably
besides
just happy you're
some-
not doing 3 separate channels of audio anymore.
yeah, that's probably the best part. But anyway, so models are fun. I miss doing them. I would love to do them, but I have a young baby, and you can't do that because the way I used to build models, they're supposed to take you like a week. I'm doing this whole fucker in a day.
And it's
Used
gonna
a whole
look
bottle of
fly.
testers. Dude, I'm telling you, I was fucking gone. So I would do the whole thing in one day. If it was a big project, 2 days. And I always got like the highest level expert,
Yeah,
model. So it's
the
like got like
hardest
the
ones.
tiniest pieces. And I'm just sitting there like trimming them down with like the little razor, and I'm like
Your eyes are dilated from all the fumes in the room.
oh dude, yeah, and I've got that sweet new metal blasted. Listen to the new Marilyn Manson when I build this. The beautiful people. Oh.
But the other thing, because you'd mentioned the dirt track, because as a kid, I mean, we weren't really rich growing up, so I didn't get, like my friends would have those RC cars with the huge battery pack that could go 60 miles an hour, and I got the ones that were attached to a
I got
wire.
a Tyco.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to being able to get my kids like an amazing, because we have a huge backyard. So, I mean, it'll be fun to get a race car that actually, because there's people down the road from us who have apparently more money than they know what to do with. So they have like an ATV, a moped, which is really annoying because like they'll get in their little moped and like put down, because we have a centralized mailbox in this neighborhood, so everybody stops basically right in front of our house to pick up their mail. So they'll like go get their mail back down about 4 houses.
Dude, that's the epitome of American laziness.
And
I
they
could
have, like,
walk to
race
go get my
cars.
mail, but
They have like little,
gonna
or not go-karts, but the RC cars, and they'll come zipping down the road and back up it.
I know a couple people who live in this complex. They have them. They play with them out in the parking lot every now and then. When I was a kid, a friend of mine who lived across the street, they always had them, and but they always got pre-built. They didn't build them themselves.
Yeah, I would
And
get a
then-
pre-built because I'm not going to.
And then I had a friend.
I had a Viper when I was a
that
kid.
which one's the one that would flip and like both ways would work?
Oh,
Because I had a
was
friend who
one of
had
those.
that, and they would
See, but, like-
because we lived right next to
It
the
was
church
like
for
a
the longest
track,
time.
a belt thing.
Well, they had that, but there was also one that just
I
had
had-
wheels.
I
and
had
both
one.
ways.
Oh, okay.
Both ways would work.
I had one of those. See, but like, okay, so the RC cars that I used to have were like the high-end Tyco, but they weren't like the ones that you get from a hobby shop where they have an actual flywheel in there and like shock hydraulics and like freaking disc brakes and everything else that are in really good RC cars. No, I the best one I ever had, I had the one you were talking about. It's not as fun as you thought.
Sidewinder or whatever.
It was
I
a
don't know.
Sidewinder. It's exactly what it's called. And then I had the one with the belt, and it sucked butt.
Did it?
That was false advertising on that fucker. The best one I ever had was called the Hammer, and it was this giant fucking truck, right? And the battery pack was 8.
D-cell.
No, it was like 8. Like it looked like double A's, but now that I'm a vapor, I'm pretty sure they were 18650s.
The big honkers.
Yeah, the big ones. And to charge it, it'd take like 5 or 6 hours to charge. And you got maybe 30 minutes of play out of it. Whew, buddy. I lost it in a sewer. And I never told my parents that. I told them that somebody stole it.
He's going to find out now.
My dad deleted the podcast app. He said, if I want to hear you talk, I'll just call you. And then he never calls me. I have a supportive parent. It's all right. And anyway, so what happened was somehow the top of it got busted off. I didn't care, though, because it made it faster.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was just unneeded plastic. So
Less
I'm like,
weight.
fuck yeah. I remember doing all these jumps and shit, and I'm, like, sitting there 360 whipping it out, and it falls down into the fucking sewer grate, like, or into this, like, sewer. And my friends are like, oh, shit. And they're like, I think we can get in there, because, like, they had, like, a sewer entrance in their backyard, like, one of those big holes. So we went in there, but we couldn't get to it because that hole went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
And then Pennywise was sitting there.
Hey.
old Pennywise, not new Pennywise, because
Yeah.
new Pennywise looks like a fucking beaver. I'm pretty sure I've said this on this podcast,
Yeah.
but you can't be scared of a painted up buck-toothed beaver. Oh, hi, I'm Pennywise. Fuck off. Fuck off. Get that shit out of my face.
What'd you do with the controller?
Oh, well, since it got stolen,
Throw it down there too. It's character building.
the best part about it was it still had battery juice going, so I was able to zoom it around in there, and I was able to hear it drive around. And I made sure to make it go until it wasn't making any more noise.
It's respect
Still
right
down
there.
Press F to pay respects.
Though I will say, while I wasn't rich enough to have like all these cool toys, since I was the pastor's kid, I had like all the keys to the church and to the gymnasium, so I could go over and play basketball and play in the gym anytime I wanted to.
Did you have the keys to the church?
I could get in the school, yeah.
Did you have the keys to the steeple? Did you look inside and see all the people?
No, I would rarely go into the church by myself because
That would have been spooky.
Oh yeah.
because it was a church school hybrid. So the upstairs wasn't bad because there's lots of huge kind of bay windows.
Yeah.
And then the church office slash my dad's office was up there, and then there was the as some people call it the foyer was kind of laid out, and then it was a really long what's the word that I'm trying to look for?
Hallway.
No, like where the church services take place. I'm just trying to think of what
Chapel.
I mean, it's not that word, but for lack of a better word that I can't apparently think of, chapel. But you know what I'm saying. And it was really long, and so I wouldn't really go in there because that was also kind of creepy. But downstairs, I wouldn't go because all the classrooms, none of the doors had windows. So it was kind of, the basement was a little bit underground.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you still had to have large windows so that you could get out, which I thought was the coolest thing when we had fire drills, because sometimes we'd have to go through the window just
Yeah.
to practice. And so they had large windows in the rooms, but none of the classroom doors had any, like they were just kind of really cheap wooden doors.
So no light was coming in through those
Yeah.
windows, so you just have this dark
So
hallway.
it's super dark. And so
Fuck that.
on each end,
I'm voting check, please.
so on each end you'd have because there was a on one end of the hallway was a stairway with a
To hell.
elevator that would lead up to the foyer,
Oh no, dude, fuck that.
and there was a
Creepy elevators at the end of a hallway.
and there
This is a creepy pasta in the making.
so because I'm hoping to go back next year because I want to take my kids to Niagara Falls, and so I wouldn't mind going back to
I
see.
thought you were gonna say I want to take my kids into this hallway, so they're as scarred as I am.
No.
Look at it.
But in this hallway, there'd be like an exit sign on each side, and so that was the only thing that was lighting in the hallway. If all the lights were off in the hallway, and then there was, and that was to the like 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, or 6th grade, and then 7th through 12th was in through at the end of the hallway. If you went right, the stairs went up to the foyer. If you went left, you went in through another door into the next hallway, which is also equally as dark. I think some of those classroom doors did have windows, but most of them didn't. And I mean, it was still tiny.
Yeah.
And those were also deeper underground, where they were in relation to like the hills and stuff like that.
You know, them hills have eyes. I remember you telling me at least some of this, because I remember you telling me about this creepy hallway with only an exit sign on each side, and how it scared the hell out of you. And you know what? I'd be scared shitless too.
That's how
the really crappy part
the
was
Grandview
'cause-
High School was too. It had 2 red exit signs on either end of the long ass hallway.
Yeah.
So everything was bright red.
But at least it didn't seem...
And red
as-
means scary.
Yep.
And it wasn't as bad as in there, I don't know, because I think that since the floors were tile, it kind of refracted some of the light. This
Yeah.
was like, we had carpet, and so nothing reflected anything.
Oh, so it was just like a dead red light.
Yeah, it was just
Ugh.
dead. And
I'm
there
gonna
were
have
times-
nightmares.
There was times where I'd forget a school book, and like, crap. So you'd grab your keys from mom and dad or something like that,
and a
you'd run-
hatchet and a wooden pike.
and run in there.
And a bottle of holy water.
And I mean, and there's nobody in the church. So
All right,
it's super
you know what?
creepy.
Screw it. You're going full Castlevania. You got to get your whip, and bottles of holy water to toss.
And so I'd run quick to my, and I usually wouldn't lock my locker because we were really, really ridiculously tiny high school
Yeah.
/ school, and like run in there real quick and run back out.
Before it can
Why didn't
get
you
ya.
just turn on the lights?
Well, I do that, but it still is creepy because you're in this building.
You
by
know,
yourself.
it's true. Like, especially like long hallways freak me out. I don't know why.
That's why I love the stories. Like, I can't remember which one it was, but the No Sleep podcast. I just love those stories where people go into a certain place and then they're going through a door, and it leads to another door and like a really long hallway. They have several that are really, really good.
I can't remember if this is a story I read in a book or if I heard it on No Sleep, because my life is just short horror stories anymore.
Yeah.
But there was this one where like it was just a red exit sign at the end of the hall was the only light that he had from his office, and he could get to like.
Was it the one where he was IT person?
No,
because they have several, but
yeah.
Was this one a law office one where like he was in the bathroom or something like that and thought he
ended up falling into a hole that was at the end of the hall. Like a hole opened up and a creature ate him.
That may be a story because.
Well, it's definitely a story.
I mean, not a No Sleep story. Sorry.
Either way, any story that involves long, creepy hallways, there's just something about a long, narrow corridor that's inherently scary to the human brain. I don't know what it is, because like there's so many scary stories based around it, and it seems like the stories about that kind of stuff go pretty far back. So there has to be something in our human psyche that creeps us out about it. Just kind of like how, for some reason, we're deathly scared of pale faces with giant black eyes and big sharp teeth, but we have no reason to be scared of that.
Like
but we are.
One of my favorite stories,
What
kind
happened
of
that's being repressed.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of always wonder, like, maybe there is some eldritch truth that's around us. It's just so mystifying and so insane that when we see it, our brain instantly just erases it. It's like, you didn't see that.
It has to be so weird. Just to even think, because I mean, so many times we're the voyeur in those stories, so it's interesting to. I mean, even though they're not real stories, but it's really cool to be kind of behind that glass and to have that little view into the world. Because I was thinking, I just heard a story that was really interesting. It was talking about, because it took a little bit from Jewish, I'm assuming Jewish lore.
Yeah.
And she found this candle. This one lady found this candle, and because she had fallen on hard times. And she was a cleaning lady, and she found this candle next to a door, and you could use this door, and you could go anywhere really and do anything. So she would go and get free stuff and food and all this kind of jazz. And slowly she found, like, she heard a person who also had a candle that was trapped in these hallways, because it wasn't really a scary hallway to her at the time because it was kind of new and fresh. And as time went on, I think the halls got darker and dingier and kind of worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, that whoever used the candle was destined to go to hell. And so there was a rabbi who wrote a story, like wrote on the walls, and as she went on, the writing kept on getting clearer and clearer. And that they thought the way to stop the candle from getting any power and working its way out of hell, basically, was that they would have to go to the ninth circle, or whatever the deepest circle of hell is, and keep the candle there. And it was a really good story.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds neat.
I'll have to. It's one of the later seasons, like 7 on.
Yeah,
but it was a really good story.
Well, I have season pass for like the past 2 seasons, so I don't know.
There's that one story they did. I forget what it was, but it was like a whole bunch of kids, and there's like a pile of children in this big, huge inferno world.
Oh, are you talking about the Christmas Land?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that shit's scary
Where, like,
as fuck.
Kids are like falling, and there's giant nets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I'm like,
I
want
that's
more.
Definitely
like
Lovecraftian Eldritch horror.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of like to sometimes like put myself in the mind thought of that shit really exists, and our brains completely blotted out the minute that we see it. It's gone because we just can't handle what we saw. The idea of it is really cool, but
I'm kind of like that with the new Transformers movies. I've seen like 4 of them, but I couldn't tell you. I think my brain's protecting me from that schlock.
I like the first 2.
The first one's okay.
The first one.
Where's Sam Witwicky?
I just, more than anything, it's more like a sound orgasm, just with the amount of amazing. Like, just watching it, because I had my computer speakers, like the. Really nice ones hooked up to my TV, so I could just blast the bass and everything, and just
bass
have it really nice, just blowing around. But after that, I mean, the premise of the story, and once they got into 2, and he like went to the Prime's heaven basically, and they were like in Egypt.
The
racist robots.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the last one I sort of remember, is like when he got brain infected, and he's like, and it's like, Jesus Christ, you're really scraping the bottom of that barrel.
Well, it's because that was during the writer's strike, so Michael Bay wrote all that shit.
Oh my God.
And those 2 races, I don't even care to try to remember their names.
Dude,
but that's what came from Michael Bay.
Straight up said the N-word. And I was like, did that just happen? That happened. Holy shit. Terrible movies.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're into a really good story, and it involves long, dark hallways, pick up the book House of Leaves. That will blow your fucking mind.
I have a really hard time reading that, because
it is a difficult book to read.
Well, not the story, but just because I want to. Because if you don't know what the book is, it's basically a work of art in book form. Because I mean, there'll be times when the pages are inverted, or there's like one word on a page, and then the next page is like starting off with 1 word, then 2 words, then 3 words, then 4 words on a line. So it kind of goes into a big pyramid.
And then there's like spirals and everything else. But the thing that kind of makes this book hard to read for some people is it's essentially 2 books in one. And one of them is about this guy who found these papers that were written by this guy named Zappano about a movie called The Navidson Report that doesn't exist, but it does exist. And then the secondary story is about Johnny, which is the guy who got this chest and has all of the stuff. So it's about what he's going through while he's reading the Navidson Report.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Isn't
it's
it that
also
there's a
about
hallway they find?
Yeah. I lent you the book, and then you were like, I just couldn't get into it, man.
Well, my problem
I'd
is
like
is
to
that
try again. It's just
all
at the time it was.
the hard thing for me is all the little footnotes, and I get caught up trying to
And-
because they have so many little things, and it'll be like an asterisk, and then or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or A B C D, and then at the bottom of the page it'll be cut off, and you have all the different annotations, and so I want to understand what they're kind of referencing, and so then it's almost like reading the Bible where you're like, okay, well, this is this, and this verse correlates with this verse, but it's in a different book, so then you're flipping over to the other book
Yep.
to try and see, and it gets really hard for me to keep my place of what's happening in the story, what's the annotation, and
The first time I read it was a slow read for me, but the premise of it was so good I couldn't stop reading it.
yeah, it is
Every
really,
consecutive read after that, because I've read this book, I've had 2 copies of this book, and I read the first copy so hard that pages were falling out because you're constantly flipping around. Not to mention if you get the full colorized version, which if you're buying this, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't just spend the money to get the best copy there is, because the book operates best with color.
and it is if nothing else, it is amazing in its writing, but it also is a beautiful work of art.
Yeah, like every time you see the word house, it's blue.
Yep.
It appears once as red and appears once as black. That's not really giving anything away, but it's something that might pique your interest. I highly recommend this book. I feel like that this book also, if you're into a lot of the YouTube artist stuff where it's like ARGs with the Slenderman universe and shit like that, so like Marble Hornets or Everyman Hybrid or anything like that, they seem to all draw inspiration from this book. So I it's a book I highly recommend, especially if you're into slow burn horror. Fuck yeah, dude.
Because isn't the video, if I remember correctly, because my brother-in-law is borrowing the book right now, so isn't the video like they go into a house,
So
and then they're trying to like correlate where they are in the house, and like so one of them is outside or something like that, and then they're supposed to have come through a door that's somewhere that it isn't, so it's like it doesn't occupy the right space and time.
So what happens is in the story of the Navidson Report, so they buy this house. Dude's like a famous photographer and a videographer, but he just kind of wants to stop. So he decides he wants to do a documentary about his family and his home and really try to, build a family life with his wife and stuff, because their relationship's kind of on the rocks, so, and everything else. So they end up buying this house out in Providence, out in the Rhode Island area, and it's kind of like out of the way, and it's a big house. So what happens is they move everything in, and his wife's really big on feng shui, so she starts setting up all the spaces to really put the feng shui together. And then she notices that some of her measurements are off, and she's like, well, that's weird. So then they start measuring like the outside of the house to the inside of the house, and it seemed the inside of the house is getting bigger. And then what happens is a closet that connects 2 rooms opens up overnight. Nobody noticed it. Just one morning, boom, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is a new closet opens up with a door, and the video called 5 Minute Hallway, which is the basis for the Navidson Report movie that was created. Kind of like what you're saying, they have a camera and they film around the outside of the house. Then they go into the inside of the house and he just walks down this hallway. And they show you, like, here's the outside, and they put the camera outside a window where the hallway's leading straight through, and then he goes down the hallway and just keeps walking it. It's like a 5-minute long walk. It's if that has captured your interest, you're gonna love this book.
It is really interesting. And I'm a slow reader, so it's like a super slow read for me.
Yeah, I'm a pretty fast reader. I thought I was like one of the fastest readers I knew until I met my wife, who puts my reading speed to shame. So I mean, there's that. But I'm a pretty fast reader, and I love this book. I've read it multiple times, and I've read it, and I've taken notes on it. And I've looked for hidden messages in it because, I mean, this is the book. This book is written
with the idea
of you finding hidden shit. And each time I read it, I find something new about it.
Yeah.
Especially like in the back half of the book, there are hidden messages in that book. I decoded a thing once in there. There's like a letter from his mom, and she was like in an insane asylum and shit. I'm getting way into it. I need to back out. House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Buy it, and you will love it. I guarantee it. Kind of like Men's Warehouse. You're gonna like the way this book reads. I guarantee it.
I guarantee it.
Ooh, thank you. Get the booze. I don't have a bassy voice today. I just have my normal dumb voice. But anyway, so we're about an hour and a half in. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't.
I feel like we just kind of had a good time just talking about whatever. I would say next week, if you would like, we can definitely... So to kind of prep for next week's episode, everybody should, if you have Amazon Prime, they have a Far Cry 5 prequel movie. So we're going to watch that, and we'll probably come back at you with some Far Cry 5 information and kind of get some hype up for this game, because I'm excited about it. It's the first Far Cry game since Far Cry 1 that I'm excited to play.
Well, this will be the first Far Cry game I've ever played.
Really?
Yeah, I've watched them. I've been kind of like, looks like fun, but I just never got around to getting into it.
I played the first one because that engine.
Yeah.
Oh, they built Crysis. Oh, that Crysis engine is just a beautiful piece of work.
If anyone is wanting to jump into a Far Cry game, I would highly recommend 4.
4 is a good starting point.
I do like
game
because I've been watching videos on it and Let's Plays and stuff like that they've allowed to not leak out, but that they've allowed people to play and post.
Oh, FC5?
Yeah, Far Cry 5.
Okay.
And I enjoy a lot of the things that they've changed from the usual Ubisoft games. And I also
here's
enjoy
something to climb just for the sake of climbing it. This map is so big, and look at the unlockables.
But we'll get into all these different things that are changing.
Yeah. Dude, when you yawn, you look like a fucking demon. Your eyes roll back so far behind into your head that like you're just a wide-eyed white man. White devil.
like the Undertaker.
He's my favorite. No, besides Hulk Hogan, which kind of is the antithesis because they didn't like each other, or at least in the story. Back when I was a kid,
I like Sacco.
That Roman Reigns beat what's his face,
Mankind's hand or something.
Yeah,
he probably like Dink and Doink.
When it comes to old school wrestling, I'm really into the Mankind dude. and the weirdness that he does. It's just like, oh, he bring out Sacco. Oh, it's so fun. I'm not Ben Kissel though, and I don't really like wrestling.
I'm gonna go watch WrestleMania this year with my friends
When they come
Chris
through
and
Des Moines?
Sam.
Or just
The big, huge WrestleMania of it.
I went to a WrestleMania once when I was a kid at Vets Auditorium. I don't remember much about it.
Was it SmackDown or Raw? Because WrestleMania is like their Super Bowl.
This is a WWF, kid.
So who knows what it was? Back
Exactly.
in the day, they didn't really have like the Monday Night Raw and
Yeah,
whatever
it was
together.
just a WWF match.
Whenever they say Raw, I just think of a penis without a condom on.
Raw dogging it?
That word has been ruined for me.
I don't
Unless
know
it's
why.
meat, like a raw meat. But if anything else they can say raw, it's like just uncovered penis.
Why?
I don't know. It's my brain, dude.
That is the weirdest.
Going in raw. Oh, penis. That word is my moist. Is raw. Ew. Penis.
And on that note,
I already forgot what my moist was.
good. My name is David.
I'm Brady.
I'm AJ. Thank you. Have a good night. We'll see you soon.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life. That is how our race was born. For a time we lived in harmony, but like all great power, some wanted it for good, others for evil. And so began the war. A war that ravaged our planet until it was consumed by death. And the cube was lost to the far reaches of space. We scattered across the galaxy, hoping to find it and rebuild our home, searching every star, every world. And just when all hope seemed lost, message of a new discovery drew us to an unknown planet called Earth.